Let's go, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to an incredibly special episode of the LA Poker Roundup. We are joined, as you can see, by a very special guest this week. We have David Uvaydov, the young man, the one of the he's going to be the premier LA blaster. I can tell already. On the show this week, we're going to have a great conversation with him. As you can tell, he is super excited. So let's keep this quick, all right? It is July 30th, 2024. This is episode 48. And we are going to start with David on the show. And then, of course, we'll hop right into, as usual, the results from last week at the bike.
And speaking of the bike, there was a scheduling disaster of monumental proportions, line out the doors, inexplicable situation. We're going to cover that in a bit.
Yeah, that was, for me personally, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. So we definitely have to talk about that. And then, when you have something bad, people look at other stuff. I don't know. It led to a little analysis of rake around. So I wanted to just bring up a couple bullet points on rake around the city. And also, we'll talk a little bit. I want to compare the prize pools because this is our first quantum of the series, and we had a non-quantum. I think that's very interesting to look at those two things.
And then lastly, we're going to wrap it up with the weekly roundup.
All right. Now, let's not make this kid wait any longer. Welcome, David. Hello, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I'm excited. I had to earn it the hard way. Seeing Sami on this was super fun. I remember I was in the chat. I had to grind
Motivation.
it.
That's right. It's good. I love where motivation, huh?
This is the big score.
You worked your way up. You worked your way up to
the money is the bonus, but getting on here, it's like this is why we do it.
I know. We've been waiting, man.
You already got Rudy in the chat and everything.
Oh yeah, if you want to see the chat, David, bring up the stream. We have no delay pretty much, so bring up the stream on YouTube. You'll see the chat.
I'm opening it.
All right, there we go. All right, so for the few of you out there who do not know David, I'm sure you've seen him. He's got a signature hairdo around LA. David is a fast, young, rising talent in the LA poker scene. He is here in LA, but he's been playing all over the world. He's been out of the country. He's been in Vegas. He's been everywhere playing poker in the last few years, and he is known around here. If you used to watch that, if you read the Bikes vlog. He challenged himself last year to play every single flight of the Mega Millions. And for those of you in the know who watch this, that is a hell of a lot of flights. And you know what? He did it. He finished with a profit, and he still lost the bet to me. So it was the perfect outcome, absolute perfect outcome.
We both made money.
I know. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. David has.
It was trip watching him running back and forth between like 3 tables.
That feels like so long ago. I remember somebody brought that up to me the other day, and I was like, it feels like it was like 3-4 years ago.
That's no wonder you act like such an old man already, man.
I was young. I can't do that anymore.
You can't do that anymore. Oh boy, there's no hope for us.
I would need like 10K at least incentive to at least consider doing that. I think.
Well,
it's madness.
I can see why, because David has now built himself up to just shy of 1 million in total cashes on the Hendon Mob.
Nice.
He is having a breakout year. He is having one hell of a year. David, though, you do need to have someone. I don't know. Maybe you can get your people on this. You got to update your Hendon profile here. You got no picture. You got a lot of nice pictures out there floating around the internet now. You got. It still says you're from Jamaica, New York. I'm guessing this is hometown. And you know what?
Yeah.
Now that I've seen that kind of explains that World Series post where they thought you were from, like Jamaica or something, and they wrote that flag down. Yeah, that might explain it. That might explain it. So he's having a great year though. Over 470,000 in cashes already this year.
We thought that you were trolling, and you just put that you were from Jamaica. But
no, it's the town.
There was the one where I was like on stream, and they thought I was Brazilian or something.
Right.
Like, a different
That's what I was wondering, if it was something like that. Man, it's like the towns next to my hometown. There's like Greece. There's like Rome, New York. Imagine you put those down and they just get confused. These World Series guys, man. So that's a little bit. David's been grinding around LA hard the last 2 years, though. That's where I met him. I think I met you in, was it 2020 at a Commerce tournament? It was one of my first tournaments around LA, honestly, as well. So that must have been right near the start of your poker journey. It's the start of my tournaments for sure. I had no idea who this kid was, and wow, what were you, 21 back then? 22?
Yeah, probably 22. I think I started playing a decent amount live, like at 2021.
2021?
So
that was
probably around
22, 23? So yeah, how old are you now, you old man who will way too old to play 2 flights a day now?
Yeah, 26.
26? The ripe old age of 26, and he's ready to retire. I think you told me you were semi-retired from poker already.
The good stuff brings me out.
To be so young.
I know,
Unbelievable.
right? To be, Derek's almost twice as old as you.
I know.
Oh, I know. I
Literally,
remember because
literally.
I remember when I met Derek and we were all talking about who's the oldest at the table, and then I think you said you're like, I'm probably the oldest, and we're like, what?
Yeah,
Do you remember that? We were all
I
talking
do
about our age.
remember. And
Yeah, yeah,
you're gonna crush the seniors
Yeah.
whenever you can get up there.
Like literally
yeah. I
lapped you
remember.
in life. So
Yeah.
why don't we start at the beginning, David? How did you get into poker? It's for us it was easy. We had ESPN. How did you get into poker?
Yeah, well, I got into poker. I mean, I knew a little bit about poker. My uncle plays poker. He plays a lot of cash. And I remember when I was like 13, 14, he let me play like a couple hands at maybe like 1 cent, 2 cent, or 10 cent, 25 cent on full tilt poker. And I played the hand terrible, but I got quads and, you're hooked ever since then. And then I kind of didn't play until I moved to New York when I was like 20. I just started playing like 1-2 unbeatable cash games, super raked. And
So those were
then I
those were
started
home
just playing
games then? You said home games?
Yeah, yeah, that was
Okay.
just like a small 1-2 in Brooklyn. I just like moved to New York. I was going to college and I was like, oh, I have some free time. Let me get into something. And I think I started playing a bit online, maybe like very small stakes ACR. And then I remember when I turned 21, it was interesting because the first tournament I played, it was like a circuit at Harrah's. And I
Wow.
remember because you still put out the ante. It was like the only tournament I played that you put out the ante, and I would
Harris
always
Atlantic City
forget.
then, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was 2019, like March. And I would always forget to put the ante, and I'd always like, put your ante. And then when I went to the World Series, um, I was like broke, and I bought into the big 50, like $500 tournament on my credit card. I stayed at like a hostel.
Oh man.
And then I just remember the transition because I just played my first tournament with the ante, and then it was gone after that. Um, and then I just sun run for like 6, 7 days and won 85K when I was
Yeah,
like dead broke
I
at
say one of your
21.
very
Really?
first, if not your first,
Yeah,
Hendon Mob entry here is that
first cash.
big 500. So apparently,
Yeah.
it sounded like from looking at your Hendon, you must have just got a hot start and thought things were easy. But you said you were pretty much broke at that point, huh?
Yeah, no, I was broke at that point. I bought it on my credit card that I had just gotten like a month ago. Not the best financial decision. I wouldn't recommend it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I
You
was like
know,
super excited. I couldn't believe it. It was just like I was like, what? I remember I called my dad and I was like, I won 85K, and he's like, 8,500? That's crazy. And I was like, no, 85K, pop.
And what'd they think
I
of that,
think a
man?
lot.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I
Go
think
ahead,
a
My
Derek.
lot
dad
of
was just like,
I
what?
think a lot of legendary gamblers feel like they get starts like you. You know, like Phil Ivey was like Busto right before he just went and like took off. So I don't know. This is the start of your legendary career.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was interesting. I
So
mean, I definitely thought I was like much better than like miles better than I was.
at
But
that
he was
point,
terrible at
how
the time.
much would you say, or what was your, if you rated yourself, what would you say your knowledge level of the game was back then?
Like 1.5,
Like a one and a
maybe,
half.
maybe 1.5.
But you just
Yeah,
ripped off
yeah,
90 grand. You went from broke to being up 90 grand, basically.
yeah, yeah.
And then what was it from there? It looks like you stayed at the World Series the whole summer, punted off how much of it probably
Yeah, that's pretty. I actually left because I was going to LA, and then I went there for a couple weeks, and then I went back to New York. But and then I was like, what am I doing here? The World Series is still going on, and I just fucking made 85K. Like, come on, I need to be out there. That's what I do. And then yeah, I think I lost like at least like 15K of it, and I sat into the main that year for like $500.
Nice.
nice,
Um,
nice. I did that myself this year.
yeah, yeah, it was actually wild because I was all in on the bubble with
Oh,
Kings versus threes, and the flop was a three,
Oh my gosh.
and I just lost, and I thought I got $3,000, but then I got super lucky. Someone at the other table busted,
uh-huh.
and it was the most roller coaster of emotions. I was like, no, and then like, they were doing the count there, and they're like, you got the seat. I was like, I got the seat. What the fuck are you talking? It was really wild. And then I played, and then I busted like the end of the second day, kings to aces for like 30 blinds. But yeah, I was definitely like I was playing. I think even started playing like 1Ks and 1500s, and like I was definitely not rolled for it, but
Yeah, I see on here
yeah,
some cashes back there from the 1K, the little one from One Drop, and Yeah, some stuff like that. And now I see you're still playing here, and I'm looking at your Hendon. You're still playing in Parks in Atlantic City for a lot of 2019, and then here in sometime December of 2019, you're here at the Gardens WPT. Was a small one, I guess, but you're here. Is that when you moved to California?
I think I moved in like because all my family's here and my dad's there, and I think I was coming back here probably during like winter break and
Oh,
stuff
okay,
like that. But I think I moved here like 2020, maybe like June 2020. Um, because pretty much I dusted off the whole 85K within a year. I was
Yeah,
just like
of
so you
course.
playing
were
a bunch of
poker
1Ks,
broke again.
2Ks. Yeah, I was made some other bad investments, and yeah, I just spent money, and I think within like a year, because I remember I was looking at my like photos the other day, and I was like, yeah, I was playing like a $6 tournament online like a year later, like $2 tournaments, 50-cent tournaments, But it's funny because I was I remember I saw this quote from I forgot what movie it was, um, but it was just saying how like sometimes your fortune can be misfortune, and your misfortune can bring you fortune. I feel like sometimes going broke and like losing it all, it's like very fortunate because then you actually take the time to be like, okay, let me get better at this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if I made 300K instead of 85K, it just would have took me 3 years to go broke instead of a year. And you just get to like start learning faster. And sometimes like the misfortune, you're like, oh, I lost it all and I'm so upset. But then that's actually what makes you fortunate and putting the
No, I
energy. So like I'm happy with it all. And it was I'm glad I didn't get luckier, honestly.
yeah, I totally agree with you, man. I would tell anyone that's just getting started that the absolute worst thing that could happen to them is for them to just go on a sun run right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolute
It's
worst
very
thing.
true. It's better to run worse, like when you're, I think, starting, because then you put in more time to get better and you're
Yep,
so self-critical. And then when you actually run high, you're like, I'm also playing well.
absolutely.
Whereas
Yeah.
like the worst is like if you're gonna run hot and then you get to a big FT and then you just make some massive blunder and you're just like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Sure, sure. But
But
we'll
then
talk
when you
about your
get
World Series final table later. So no,
yeah, and
I'm
then
just
when you
kidding.
get
I'm
a
just
big
kidding.
score, right? And you get a big score, and then you start playing, maybe not like nosebleeds, but you play some higher limits. You get exposure to better players, right? And you can learn from that. And I'm also going to say, like, yeah,
Yeah.
going bust though is not the best thing, but at least you have sort of like a growth mindset, right? Where you are down for learning and you're
Yep,
committed to learning. So
absolutely.
like, this that does a lot for your growth for sure.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you this then. At what point was it? Was it before that win? Was it sometime well after? At what point did you decide? Okay, that's it. I'm doing poker right now. I'm full time poker. That's what I'm doing. What made the switch and when was it?
Yeah, I think like I mean after the score, I don't think I was like committed to playing full time. Still had like a year of school, like college left, and I finished it. But during that time, COVID started, so a lot of my classes that were like Zoom classes, and I would just be playing
Oh yeah.
online
Yeah,
during them. And that's kind of when I really started playing online, is like during COVID, and I was still technically in school, but I didn't
sure.
go to school anymore. And then I was just playing a lot in ACR, and yeah, I remember I was like getting up early. There was like a $16 early special on ACR, and I would always play it. And there was like a bunch of $6. I was grinding a lot of like $2 to $6 when I kind of went broke and just like started rebuilding. And I remember because there was this one like $6 tournament on ACR. It was like one of their big series with like 10,000 runners. And I think it was when I was like pretty broke. And then I won it for 6K, a $6 tournament. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Like
That's
it just
crazy
felt
ROI.
so
What are you kidding me?
crazy. Yeah, it just felt so crazy because I was like, wow, maybe I could do this.
I gotcha. So you're grinding poker during COVID. It's not like you chose or you're choosing to play all the time, but you have nothing better to do because we love poker, right? So then COVID
Yeah, yeah.
ends, and you've moved here. You moved here because your family's out here. You said, right? Is that it? Was you didn't move to LA for poker? You moved to LA because most of your family's here. Is that true?
Well, I was just grinding every day, and then I was like, if I'm gonna be grinding every day, it's like you're in New York, and then you're done grinding, and you're like, okay, let's go outside, and it's fucking cold as tits, and you're like, what the hell? So I was like, if I'm gonna be grinding all the time, I was like, I might as well move back to LA so that at least when I'm done,
Yeah.
I could like go outside and it's nice. And second, like it starts a little earlier, so instead of being done at like 9 p.m., I'd be done at 6 p.m. and I could still do some stuff. And like I didn't have like I just had like a couple friends in New York, but most of my friends were in LA, so I was just like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm go there and live with my grandma and just try to run it up.
And what did your grandma and the rest of your family think of your poker career?
I mean, my dad was he was like pretty worried because he had like a good friend that lost a lot of money gambling, and I think he was just like super
Mm,
worried. And my grandma too, she was very worried about it. My uncle understood because he's a cash game player and he just has a lot of experience with poker. And my mom was also like kind of very supportive, like go for it.
oh,
But I think a
nice.
lot of like a majority of my family, they were just like, "What are you doing? Like gambling, it's bad." And I'm a Jewish, and I come from a pretty like traditional Jewish family, so it was pretty, all my cousins would be like, I mean, I didn't really tell anybody outside of my direct family, even like cousins and stuff.
Gotcha.
I was just like, I'm doing something in finance because it's just like it's such a long conversation.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's basically like trading. It's like, options, spreads, it's stats. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
I
it's the
know.
same
I know.
thing.
and even when I started like making money from it, I still didn't tell like a lot like of my family that I was like, oh, I play poker like kind of on the side. They didn't realize I was doing it full time. Um, yeah, because I was just like, yeah, it comes and goes. I want to have like more success, and like I didn't want like people to worry about me. I didn't want them to like give me advice. It's just such a long conversation with
Gotcha.
people that don't understand poker that
Yeah, no.
I'm a fucking Jewish. You know how many
Absolutely.
cousins I have? I'd waste my whole life explaining it to them.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, yeah.
So let me ask kind of on the other side of that then though. So, once you made that decision, how did you approach kind of becoming a professional? Was there anyone you kind of had as like a mentor, or like uh, how did you decide to approach bankroll management? Do you just are you out there trying to look for backers, or are you like selling pieces of action? How'd you choose between cash and tournaments? This sort of stuff. What did you do when you decided you were going to be pro? Um, whether you're pro still or not. We talk about that later. I think you were joking when you said you were semi-retired. How did you go about, what were the steps you took to decide like, oh, this is how I'm going to approach this, and would you do it differently now?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely didn't. I don't think anybody understands variance, even pros, as much as they should, because it's just really crazy, especially when you're playing live and online. It's just it could be so long. And I never was backed or staked. I would just play online like very small. Like I would just rather play like $2, $3, $6 tournaments and just like grind it up and play. I was playing like a lot of table. I was playing like 10 to 15 tables. And
Gotcha.
now
Primarily
honestly
cash
like
or primarily tournaments?
they're just all tournaments.
All tournaments. Okay.
All tournaments. I was playing like 15 tables probably during like COVID. And then I actually started playing less tables because I was like, I think I was just like autopiloting and not really
Sure.
thinking too much. And I was being like too tight and not really like thinking about it. When you're playing so much, you kind of just
Yeah, you
autopilot and
have to, right?
you want to have that mix where you're like, you know what to do, but you're also a little bit creative, where you like, okay, this person's this way. Even if you're playing online, I think it's hard to play like your best when you're playing 15 tables.
No,
Yes.
absolutely.
When you're playing very small stakes, I think it's fine because it's very standard and you play ABC. But
Yep.
even when you're playing like over $30 online, I think it's very tough. But yeah, I mean, I kind of just kept grinding like very small stakes, and there was like a time I was broke, and I even had to my older sister like lent me like $1,600, and it was when I was in Vegas, and then I think I like FT to win 500.
I, I'm sensing a
Like,
pattern
and
here, David.
yeah, I was definitely like very like broke and degen when I was starting. And I remember because like the summer of 2021, it was like I was like kind of giving it my last try, and I made an FT at the win. It was like $500, and it was 60K up top, and I was second in chips at the FT with 18 blinds. It's very short.
Wow.
Yeah, second in chips, and I was like,
Wow.
this is it, 60 fucking K for first. I'm second in chips with 18 blinds. This is what we're grinding for. And then like third hand of the FT, I just got kings to aces.
Oh
Oh,
my
Versus,
gosh.
like button versus big blind versus like third in chips. And then I like busted, like I had four bigs left
Yeah.
and busted. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I
And it's
see
tough
that
because
here. I
that's the
see
thing.
that
Like you
here.
grind, and you might just get to a massive spot and just
Yep.
run bad. I
Go the wrong way.
actually,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
took a like a little break from poker after that.
you referenced that, I think, in your tweet about your big final table, which, like I say, we'll get to later. But I'll pop it up on the screen here. Is that? I think you kind of referenced that here. I feel like that sounds like it's kind of a mantra of yours, then, right? Getting to having these spots, and kind of making the most of these massive spots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean that one was
I mean, how do you deal with setbacks like that, right? You get there and you just get like punched in the face in a spot where you kind of feel like you're gonna make it. I mean, you said you took a little bit of time off, but like, how do you deal with that and bounce back and come back and be able to play kind of, your A game?
and that one was tough. I kind of came back to LA and then I just got a job working with a buddy. And I think it kind of helped me because I was like so used to grinding poker and I was like so used to like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm trying to like have a big score that like when I actually was making even like 3K a month, I was like, oh, to grind micro stakes, this is fucking piles. Like this is
Yeah.
insane. And like I feel like that allowed me to play like a little more aggressive. Like I was like actually making
Yeah.
some steady money. And I was like, okay, whatever. If I lose this freaking $10 tournament, I'll just rebuy. And
Right.
even if I
Mhm.
buy some live tournament, 300-400 bucks, sometimes taking a break when we're like so deep into it is nice. 'Cause we just,
Yeah.
you know,
I just
yeah.
I just want to clarify. So I'm looking here at your Hendon. You've got the 550 Windfall Classic. You got ninth for 6,000. That's the tournament we're talking about,
That's
November
the one,
2021.
that's the one we're talking about. Yeah.
And then I see you played 4 days later at the Deep Stack Poker Series. I'm guessing that's Venetian because you cashed that thing. And then in January of 2022, you have several cashes at LAPC. So I'm just kind of wondering how long of a break you took. Was it from November until
Well, I was
January,
still,
or what? Or do you mean like from
no,
online
I was
playing
still,
24/7?
yeah. It was mostly online playing. That's when I kind of started playing more live because I
Oh,
actually had like a little more income.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And it was like end of November, start of December that I got a job.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because even that summer was like I was pretty much I think pretty break even that summer, even after those scores.
Yeah,
Maybe I
yeah,
made like very little. Um, but I was just started playing more live because I was like, okay, I'm working during the week and then
yeah.
like let me just play it higher because
Welcome
now
to
I
our
could
world.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
Nice
joined our
that,
club.
yeah, it's like it's just like an income stream, right? It's not really a bankroll. You just have like an income stream
Mhm.
that sort of, carries you along a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
That's the awesome thing. Like when you have income, like you could just play,
yeah.
you don't have to have a bankroll
It,
because like
it's an
yeah.
amazing. I always tell anybody that like I've had a couple friends talking about like thinking about going pro or this or that, and Phil Galfon says this too, and I totally agree. I think it's like you should be playing in your quote unquote spare time, right? I mean, almost
yeah.
everybody who's doing things. This is LA, right? Everybody has a side hustle. All the actors, right? All the actors are waiting tables doing something else. All the writers are doing something else to make money. Like poker players do the same thing. Make money, play on the
Yeah.
side. You can get a flexible job, play on the side. Listen to David. You can play your best when you got a little income. When you don't have to worry about being able to buy dinner, you can you can play better, right? I totally love that.
Definitely helps. I have a lot of friends, when they're running bad or they're like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, just take a break, get a job, like boost your bankroll. And then you could always, take, a couple months off and then grind small. But I think it
Yeah.
definitely helps.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it,
You know,
yep. Go
speaking
ahead.
of bankrolls, have you ever been staked before, and do you ever like sell action to your events?
not not too much. I mean,
Hmm.
I've never been staked, but I definitely sold action when I was like starting out. And even this summer I sold like to everything I think 2,500 and above, I sold like 20 to 30%. And I actually played, it's funny because I played 3 to 4, maybe 3 to 5, like 3K plus this summer. Those were like the biggest binds outside the main. And I sold every single one 30 to 50%, except the one that I did good in. I was just
Oh
like, I'm up
wow,
this summer.
your investors
I was
must
like,
be
I'm up.
pissed.
Yeah, I was like, I'm up a decent amount this summer. I was like, this is like a massive 3K. It has 2 flights, and I was like, oh, this is higher, a little harder.
Oh
So,
boy.
even that is lucky in itself because, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
To get the whole amount, that's amazing. Man, if I had been buying PCU all summer and you did that, I'd be so mad. I'd be like, never
Yeah.
again.
yeah.
Hex every time I see you. um,
That's how Jeremy and Sohail feel, right?
is that so? You only sold privately though. The people watching can't get on pokerstake.com and buy a piece of your next event.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually got approved to sell on there. I like applied and
Hmm.
I got approved before the summer, but I didn't end up selling anything. But I was like, oh, I might play higher, I might do stuff. But I always prefer to play smaller with all of myself than anything bigger with half of
Yeah.
myself or
Gotcha.
40%.
Yep.
In Vegas, there's just so much stuff to play that like even an 800 versus like a 5K, I just rather just play that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally
It's
feel
just
that.
so good.
And
Um, and then when I sell, I always like offer my friends first, so I didn't have to use the poker stake because just I only sold to literally probably less than 5 events this summer.
gotcha. Now, you I think listening to your story so far, I've counted at least two, if not three. I'm curious, you've been playing now around 5 years. How many times exactly have you busted your poker roll now? Do you know?
I'd say like probably at least three. I mean, I lost the whole 85K, and then when I was playing online, there was a point where I grinded it from like nothing to like 20K, and then I think I busted that. I would say probably like at least 3 times.
Okay, so in
At
the
least
last
three times.
5 years, you've gone completely poker busto at least 3 times. It's like almost like a year, more than a year and a half, right? Each time. How? So this is kind of like a corollary to Derek's question. How have you been able to, you know, have you always kind of been mentally tough, or like do you think it's like just degenerate sickness of needing to get back in action, or how have you been able to bounce back from those kind, not just a bad
Yeah.
one tournament, but how have you been able to bounce back after hitting the bottom not once, not twice, 3 times here, and
Yeah.
still be passionate and energetic about the game?
That's impressive.
Yeah, I guess I was just like I felt like I was getting better and I was just excited. Like grinding it up is exciting, grinding it up from $1,000 to
Sure.
$10,000,
Where have the bankroll
50K.
challenges been? We want to watch.
Yeah. I want to do that. I want to set up I might start streaming sometime this year. I want to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough, but I feel like if you feel yourself getting better, you're energized and it's fun like grinding up a bankroll. And I think like people are sometimes so hungry to like get to success. They like feel like, "Oh, I gotta get there now. I gotta get there in the next 6 months." Everyone's
Yep.
winning, but like that's the exciting part. It's like grinding it up from nothing. And yeah, I just feel like people just want to get there very fast and like enjoying the process is just when you kind of get into that and you don't feel rushed because most people don't get to taste that success at any point in their life, like
Yeah.
having those big banks. So it's like if you get there in 6 weeks or 6 months or even 3 years, it's like you just want to get there at any point in your life.
Yeah.
And if like playing a little higher takes away, more opportunities for you to get there, then you shouldn't do that. Like you just want to have as many opportunities as possible. And like
Hmm.
I think that obsession with like getting it now or like getting in the next 2 months, even like sometimes like I definitely grinded a little bit too hard when I was starting, and I like missed a lot of like holidays and celebrations with family that I wish I
Yeah.
didn't because I would just like never miss a Sunday. I would just be like, okay, this Sunday could change my life. Like even if I'm playing like $100 tournament on ACR, it has 50K up top. Like I'm just gonna win that 50K, and then I'm gonna treat my mom and everyone to dinner, and it's all gonna be okay. But the thing is, like,
Yeah.
you can't just always have that mindset. Like, you're not just go to
Yeah.
bank it every Sunday,
Yep.
and like your EV is like, you know, I remember I missed like Mother's Day and stuff when I was on a Sunday or Monday, and like now I'm,
It's on a Sunday.
you know, even the past like year, I think what's helped me do a lot better is that I kind of did like put poker like back a little bit because I would like try to always be there for my family and for my mom, my dad, and like
Yeah.
I would be like I can miss this tournament. Um,
Yeah.
and
I mean, yeah.
I think that helps. That helps.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you sound like you have a very supportive family, first of all, right? Like your sister's kind of keeping you back in action, and you get support from your parents, even though you come from a traditional Jewish family. So I think it makes it a little bit easier for you to, yeah, experiences are important, right? You have a really mature mindset, dude.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Seriously. I
say.
mean,
I love
yeah,
what
it's
I'm hearing.
unbelievable.
Sounds like in
Yeah.
this short amount of time, you're really maturing more than I would think a lot of kind of people in this gambling lifestyle
At your
would,
age, I
right?
was stupid. I was,
Oh, I was there. I mean, I just kind of I'm only wise because of all the mistakes I made. I remember there's like the smart people. I forgot the quote exactly, but it's like the smart people learn from other people's mistakes, but the wise learn from their own experiences, and
Yeah.
it's just mostly that I made a lot of big blunders, whether it was with, the way I spent my time or the way I managed my bankroll. And it's like I just went really hard early and
Gotcha. Yeah.
was able to fall a couple times.
Now, you mentioned, the feeling of getting better has been really something you really enjoy. That's been really motivating for you. How do you study? Are you, do you just have a group of people you study with, or are you part of a training site, or what do you do?
I mean, it's funny because I wasn't doing too much studying like the past like year, like just ever since I started, and then I was mostly like when I started playing poker, I was just studying through watching streams. I was just watching a lot of Twitch streams, like
Twitch
Bunga
streams.
Cat, Egyptian, Raise Your Edge, and
Hmm.
that was like the only way I would study. I would just watch streams, which I think is like decent. You're watching good players. There's not too many like. There's a couple like really high level players that stream, and that's amazing. Um, but I think like I definitely the past year, it's funny because even after I met my girlfriend, she started to like push me to study more and improve.
Oh,
And she
good. You
just
said
started
it. You
playing
said it. I was
poker.
gonna have to keep saying leading questions until you admitted it. That was.
No, but she definitely. I was studying a bit, and I was like playing around with GTO Wiz, and even me and Rudy kind of like started playing around GTO Wiz together. Um, and learning from that, which is definitely nice. But I think, the best way to study is doing a combo of like GTO is and just talking to a bunch of like
Yeah.
live players that play those fields. Because
Yep.
I think the best answer to any situation it would be like if you just ask five good live tournament players and like whatever the average of the response they give you is, that's the fucking answer.
It is.
GTO is just fucking bullshit compared to whatever answer you get from there. Because
Yeah.
that's pretty much if you put in like HRC or PIO or whatever and you adjust all the ranges, like the live players are already adjusting all
Yeah.
That's right.
the players
100%.
of someone else and they understand it. So you know that's kind of the way I study now. Like I'll play around with that, but then I'll just message like 4 or 5 friends about a spot, and then whatever they kind of say, I'm taking my opinion and their opinion, and then I'll tell them why I think this and why they think that, and then we'll kind of come to something. And that's kind of mostly how I study now.
Sure. Yeah, especially around LA. I mean, all of the regs around here, if we tell each other a hand, first thing's like, well, who was it? And like 70% of the
Yeah.
time, you can just say their name. We
I'll
all
tell you
know.
exactly.
Everybody
Yep.
knows who it is. But it's a very old school
Yeah.
way of studying. So that's that's good. I feel like you have a really old soul, David.
Thank you,
All
thank you.
you young
Yeah, I
kids are
mean,
supposed to be GTO wizards. You're not supposed to, you know, be doing it this old way, playing by feel and just talking to each other.
yeah, I mean the GTO wizards though that play live, they usually lose a lot of money. Like I was sharing a house this summer, and like I think we all learned from each other. Like well, there was 5 of us, and some of us were a little more traditional. Some were more GTO whiz, and it was kind of like living in this house and talking to people. We all learned from each other, and we kind of all adjusted. We're like, oh, you're being way too crazy in this spot, and you're being way too tight, and that's kind of like that's what makes poker so interesting is that the
Yeah.
answer is so dynamic.
Yep.
It's so
That's right.
dependent on the person you're playing against. You could have the same hand, same spot, but if this guy's super tight or super loose, and I think that's what keeps people like some. The question I guess asked a lot is like, do you ever get bored? Like you're playing all the time, like you ever get bored? But it's like no, because you're playing in so many different people,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and it's so rare you'll ever be in the exact same spot, even
Yeah.
if you're playing every fucking day.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, and even especially against like good regs that you play against often, they're always adapting to you. Then it's like this chess game, right, with the good regs, and then
Yeah.
trying to exploit all the new players that you get. Yeah, so psychological battle every time you go out there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I wanna bring up a little clip for those of you who have not seen this. I hope you have the stream up there, David. This was a fun one when I saw it.
I started playing poker 6 years ago now.
I'm actually gonna mute it because you probably are gonna say a lot of stuff that we did. But look at this. This is awesome. Our boy David here was over in Amsterdam, and he got interviewed, and he had this awesome production video here with WPT, man. How did you
I
score
remember
that?
that.
How did you? How
Yeah.
did they get you this? Why did they pick you? What I mean, what the heck? Who did you bribe to get in this video?
Yeah, that was super fun. That was super unexpected. I actually was just in Barcelona hanging with some friends, and then I saw that there was like a WPT in Amsterdam, and I just kind of swinged on over there. And I forgot, I just like retweeted that I was like going there or something, and then one of the WPT guys reached out to me. Um, and yeah, it was super fun. I had a great time. The Andrea, the woman that interviewed me, we just had a great time. We're walking around. It was super nice, and I wasn't expecting that. I was just gonna go there, play a couple tournaments, and Amsterdam was super awesome. I want to go back there. It's an awesome city. It was a real city. Like you could just walk everywhere, and it was
Nice.
very dense. And I ate at this like pancake club every day that was across from the casino that served little pancakes, and I took her there and the crew, and I showed everyone this pancake club place. It was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, it was that was very random.
Yeah, so it seems like, I follow you on the social media. It seems like you've traveled quite a bit in the last years playing poker. I saw, aside from just going to Florida and Vegas, I think you went to Brazil recently. What other places have you been traveling to? And can you just tell us about your trips? What's your favorite thing? What's most frustrating thing? Is this the plan? You're gonna do a lot of poker traveling?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I want to do for a lot of next year and some of this year. I mean, traveling to all those places is awesome. It's far and it's expensive, but I think it's something that I just want to see, like, I want to do more of. I want to go to all these places. Brazil was amazing. Weather there was amazing. Food. I actually might go back there in October because they have like a Poker Stars BSOP series in Rio.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm thinking about going there with my girlfriend where we'll both get a grind. But yeah, I want to go more in like South America. I want to go to Asia. I've never played in Asia,
Oh yeah.
but this APT seems really cool. And
Yeah.
Let me know when you go there,
that
man. I want to
3K.
go back for that too.
So
Yeah,
unbelievable
and I was
tournaments
thinking
over there.
about it. Yeah, and actually that I was going deep in that 3K, and then Michael Soiza was in there. He's he's one of the
Yeah.
co-founders of the APT.
Oh
We were
really?
asking him about
Oh,
it.
is he
Nice.
really? I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
know that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Plays
They
Tritons and
actually
whatnot
bought
too,
it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, they bought it and they rebranded it like 2, 3 years ago.
Oh,
No shit.
And
that's great.
it's funny because he's actually saying that they're growing so fast that they can't find venues. Like that they were all the venues that they were using the past year, they're like just like too big for them.
Oh wow, that's
They need like
awesome.
70, 80 tables. And there's one in Taiwan, like I think in like a month or two. I'm gonna see if I can
Oh, I
go
can't
there,
go
but
there.
yeah, it's like it's a little short. It's like a week long, and if I'm gonna go that far, I want it to be like a bit of a longer
Yeah.
series, like
Gotcha.
2 weeks or something. But yeah, I want to go to one of the like the Korea ones or
Yeah, yeah.
something.
Yep, they do.
Jeju.
Yep, Jeju. I was there for my honeymoon. I definitely would love to go back to play a poker series. It'd be amazing. Highly
Yeah,
recommend.
but
Do that one.
yeah, I heard the APTs are awesome. I want to go to WPT Cambodia. I almost went to start this year because I have a friend there, but then I went to Borgata instead and got sick 2 times and just lost like
Oh
10K or
man.
something.
Yeah.
But
Poor
next year
choice.
I'm not doing that. I
Yeah.
don't care what's going on at the Borgata. I'm going to Cambodia.
Look, as another fellow former East Coaster, if your choice is to go somewhere else or Atlantic City, you should, yeah, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Do not go to Atlantic City. That
Atlantic
is
City's terrible.
This
armpit
is
I
of
terrible
call it
place.
it's the armpit of New
syphilis of a
Jersey.
city.
Yeah, it's a really
Yeah,
terrible place.
I
It's
will be
actually
going there in a month, having said that, but it's terrible.
it's actually pretty cool that you got a girlfriend, that plays poker with you. So like, where did you guys meet?
Yeah.
And how is she like? What is she like a semi-pro or what's going on with her?
Yeah, so we met. She's in like the entertainment industry, and she's a writer. She does camera work. She does lighting. She does 100 different things in
Nice.
production.
Gotcha.
But I think she was writing a script about poker, and she kind of got into it. She started playing a bit. Was playing like $100 dailies at the Hustler. I think she won one of them for like 900, and
Wow, nice.
yeah, and she was working on a music video with one of my friends. She was talking about poker, and then my friend was like, "Oh, I have a friend's professional poker player." And when I was in Vegas last summer, she texted me, and I was calling her, I was talking to her. I didn't even know what she looked like or anything. I was just talking to her on the phone for a month.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, yeah. And then when I came back, I hit her up. We hung out, and then we've just been
Nice.
hanging out since then.
That's awesome. What a great story.
Yeah, but I'm excited. It's fun because I feel like poker, especially poker tournaments, it's like so demanding to get good at
Yeah.
it. Like when you can share that with the
Yeah.
person that you're spending the most time with, it allows you to get better
Yeah.
because you're just like,
So you have to spend all your
you know,
time talking about it and thinking about it, right? You don't have to
yeah. But
split.
even her, there's like times where she's like, "This is too much poker," and even it's funny because she always says that to me, and then you know, I was kind of like chilling this week, and she was playing a lot at the bike, more than me. And then I was like, "Babe, I can't talk anymore poker." It was the first time, and we were both like, "Oh my god," she couldn't believe I said this.
Yeah, Derek
We-
and I were playing with the two of you just last weekend at the bike. So I mean, she's definitely passionate about it too, and she's pretty good. She's pretty good herself.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
We have like a
Yeah,
safe word.
you
We say
finally
we say we're all pokered out. That's our safe word. It's like if the other guy says you're all pokered out, then it's like okay, that's it. Yeah.
Um,
So I said that this week.
wow,
I couldn't
first
believe
time
it too.
ever.
I was like, I can't believe I said that.
Mark the day. Um, so one other thing I wanted to quick ask about then is, so you had mentioned, you played some cash games live in the beginning, but you're pretty much all tournaments now. So what was the deciding factor for you to focus on tournaments and not cash games?
I don't know. Tournaments are just so exciting, and I don't know. I think that first run definitely got me hooked.
Oh, okay.
Once you get the tournament bug.
Yep.
But I think poker tournaments are a lot tougher at the beginning. But I think if you get good at them, like your edge can be massive. But I think
Yeah.
at the beginning it can be very tough,
Uh,
understanding the variance,
Mhm.
understanding like all the stack sizes, the FTs. But I think like once you get past that learning curve, I think you can make. I think it could be a lot better off, and it's just also just more exciting. Doing something. Even if you could play like a juicy cash game and make 20, 30%, 50% more, I think if you enjoy it and you could travel and
Yeah.
that's fun. I enjoy that. And
Yeah,
I mean,
they don't give
it's
trophies
such
for
a
cash games, right?
No
they
trophies.
don't.
That's
No ICM.
no
Yeah.
trophies for
Even
cash
for
games.
me, it's like still I always like try to zoom out, and even I remember like when I started playing, I would always like look at the WPTs in like Florida and see like, oh, Darren Elias is playing and like all these people.
Yeah.
And like the first time you're in one of those updates, you're like, oh my God. And even the first time like you sit down at a table with one of those people, and it still happens to me, you're just like, damn, like I'm sitting with this person right now.
Yeah.
And it's even better when there's like the first time you're sitting and then you're like a little nervous, but then you're like, okay, I'm sitting with this person. Like, let's run
Yeah.
it. Let's
Yeah.
fucking find out
It's just
what's gonna
cards.
happen. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's when it's really gets amazing when like you sit down with the people you respect, but then you're like, I'm just gonna play poker. And sometimes we get like two in our heads. We're like, oh my God, this person, like we just like call, we're like, oh, this guy's a pro. He's always bluffing. I call with third pair. It's like you can't just think about the spot that way.
Yeah.
Just because someone's a pro, like they're always and when you kind of just zoom out and just you play your fucking hand and play the spot, and I think gets easier.
Yeah, no, that's one of the really amazing things about poker. I mean, all you all you need is enough money to buy in, and you can play with anybody. And like you said, I think what was it Tony, old Tony Divine told me this one time when I was just saying how annoyingly tough my table was. The kind of a riff off what you said is, well, I heard he gets dealt two cards just like everybody else, right?
Yep.
It's only so much they
That's a
can
very-
do.
Tony was off.
Yeah,
Tony's
gotta love Tony.
I didn't really know Tony, and then I remember we went. It was like the win. It was like the first win series must have been last year, and we just like both went there randomly and like split a room. And
Oh, that's awesome.
he's a cool.
Yeah,
He's
Tony's
a cool guy.
Tony's a cool dude. I
Um,
played cash with him a bunch, and then I randomly saw him over in tournaments, and then I checked his thing. I'm like, oh, you won a bracelet. Okay, that's why you're over here. Yeah, that's why you're not just playing that cash game that we were in. No, Tony's an awesome guy. But so talking about tournaments, talking about understanding final tables. Let's move on to this summer, man. Congratulations, you started out the summer really strong with a win over at the Aria Poker Classic here. Event number 3, you got yourself your first Aria. They give you spades. Is that the name of the trophy? An Aria spade.
yeah,
And it
they gave me like two cards. It's like two. I think aces or something and like a gold thing. I actually don't have the trophy. I left it in Vegas and my buddy drove it over and I have to go to like Long Beach to get it. But it's
uh,
somewhere.
well, congratulations. That was pretty nice. You just ripped, and I believe if I was reading your post right, you said, yeah, yep. So you were the short stack three-handed, and you came back to win the whole thing outright for 42 grand right off the rip this summer, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, that was a wild one.
how did that feel then to be able to start the World Series summer up 40 grand? I mean, did that change your plans? Did you suddenly add a couple extra 5Ks on your schedule, or what did that do for your confidence?
Yeah, I think I definitely played like I definitely even like the first couple 3Ks, I might not have fired them. I remember I fired one like that I maxed with that I probably wouldn't have fired if it wasn't for that. But yeah, that one felt good. I mean, you can play tournaments for so long, but to win one, it's exciting and
Yeah.
yeah. I've been playing for so long and it's crazy that you could be playing for 5, 6 years and you know, to
Yeah,
just win a
what
trophy.
was his name? Tonka or whatever. Everyone was making fun of him online about how
Yeah,
long he's gone without ever winning a live tournament, right? I think he finally broke
yeah,
it
'cause
last
he's
year, but it
so
was just
good.
hundreds and hundreds of tournaments, and
Yeah,
he's very good, right? So,
yeah, yeah, he's good. But yeah, that one was wild because we were just playing till like 3 a.m. and the other guy was when we got heads up, I think he had like a 10-1 lead and he
Wow.
was just I doubled up once and then I think won a couple hands and he was very tired. He was like begging me to chop and
love it.
I was like I haven't been in this spot where I wasn't tired and I was
You
like
had
I
him
want
right
to
where
win
you
like a
wanted him.
trophy. Yeah, and I was like let's go. So yeah.
I've noticed that before too. I actually have said that before. If you're conditioned more to play that long and that deep in the night, and you're at one of these final tables and they're not, that's a huge
Yeah.
advantage. I mean, that's worth a
Oh,
lot.
that's what I learned this summer is like I would never chop now, like being 'cause I'm not tired when it gets there and my adrenaline is just pumping and I'm excited and I'm pretty used to it. And like this guy,
It's falling over asleep,
the
right?
final hand, just to show you like when people are playing at 4 a.m., the final hand I like jammed 25 bigs and he snapped me with queen deuce suited pre-flop.
He just
Wow.
wanted it to end.
Snap me because he was just like, I want it to end.
Yeah,
Like,
he just
fuck
wants it
this
to end.
Wow.
guy,
Yep.
fuck his hair, fuck his face. I don't want to see this kid anymore. Like, he was just tired of
Just
it,
make it end.
and that's fair.
Yeah.
But he's putting up his money. He can play however he
Uh-huh.
wants. But recognizing that and be like, whatever. Let's gamble. Let's
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
And that's part of the tournament
It
is like
absolutely is.
having stamina to play
Endurance.
that long.
Yep.
Yeah.
People don't realize that it's like you're playing and then people are like, oh, we're all tired. It's 2, 3 a.m. Let's chop. And it's like you don't have to do them.
David's
You're
like,
not
we're all
entitled to chop
tired,
for
you
them.
say.
You can be a nice guy. If you say no to chopping, it doesn't make you a bad person.
Right.
This
Nope.
is full.
Nope.
You
Yeah.
know,
People complain and they'll grumble, but you know what? It's fine.
Yeah.
if
No.
you want the trophy and you want the maximum
Yeah.
dollars, and sometimes I don't like if it was if it was a big spot and it was like 400K for first and 250K for second, then maybe I would have been like, okay, let's chop. Like I can
Yeah.
guarantee myself 75K. That's massive. But
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm comfortable to gamble for this amount versus opponent. And that's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I think that's a really great point, especially for the people listening, man. And especially in the dailies that we play around here, the 1 day tournaments, because 1 day tournaments always go so late, right?
Yeah.
And the people who play
Yeah.
them, they're so not used to getting late, to getting deep, to playing so long. The edge can be massive. Your edge can go so far. I've had that same experience a couple times at the ends of tournaments, and I definitely would be on the lookout for that for anybody who's, you're more of a night owl, right? You're more of a you're hitting your peak more around 10 p.m. than most people here. So,
I'm like,
Yeah.
we're just getting warmed up right now. It's
Exactly.
midnight.
Yeah. Yeah. After this, I'm exhausted. Derek's exhausted.
Yeah.
We go to bed. We got to work in the morning. You're like, I'm going to go hit a game. Yeah. David's like, I'm going to get out there and go grind. I'm going to fire up 2 tables on my phone while I'm playing.
Listen, there's a $5 hyper somewhere online.
Exactly.
And I will find it.
And Xander's making a good point in chat too that not used to playing people are not used to playing heads up, right? It's very very hard to play heads up anywhere, right?
Yep.
Like I actually used to play heads up online on like full tilt poker back in the day, but if I didn't have online poker, I don't know where I would get in heads up volume, right? So it is
Yeah.
it's another important aspect.
Yep. And if you don't have your friends, like old Dom, Dom the doofbag, running Sims for you on the rail in between every hand, heads up, it's even harder. So for most of us, it's tough.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you ripped off the win right off the bat. How kind of quick run us through your World Series summer before we get to, because this 3K was almost the last event, right? It was really late in the summer, right
Yeah.
after the main.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had that. That was massive. That felt nice. And I mean, I was fortunate. I had a bunch of I went like final two tables of this win 1600. I think I cashed for like 10K, but I was super excited about that one. I got pretty I just got cooler blind versus blind in a big pot. And then I went also really deep in this 2500 um like World Series of Poker. I was like final
28th
I
year,
think
I
I was like
think.
final 30. Yeah, I was
Nice.
like final 30 and that was like 600K up top. That one I was super pumped up for. I've never gone that deep like in just a bunch of tournaments in like
That's
any
must feel
summer,
good.
just in any series. Yeah. I was definitely running good, but I also in that tournament there was a spot where I really wanted to call somebody on the river, and I just didn't listen to my gut because I was like, oh, I don't know this guy, this and that, but his line made no sense, and I bet and he jammed, and I wanted to call, and I didn't listen to myself, and I just kind of learned from that it's like okay, like no matter the spot or the stakes, it's like
Yeah.
if you feel something, if you have that like urge or itch that's telling you this doesn't make sense, it's like
Yeah.
they fucking have it. They fucking have it.
That's right.
Okay? This doesn't make sense to me. If you like have some hand here, but like also there was a hand in that tournament where this guy just had like a timing tell. He just like
Hmm.
did something and I was like, this makes no sense. But I was just like, I don't want to fucking bust. Even
Yeah.
I get that sometimes. Like you're going deep, you're playing for 600K. You're like, oh, but what if
Yeah.
I'm wrong? But it's like, but what if I'm fucking right?
Yeah, I
What
think
if I'm
for
right?
sure. Once you've played enough to really have built up some good instincts, I think that's really important to trust your gut too, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so
So
then take us to this one. You've had a couple deep runs this summer. You had that win off the rip. At what point in this 3K did you feel like, this one was special? You're really gonna make a deep run on this. You might win this thing.
I mean, I remember the third day. I got like queens to ace king three times for a
Three
massive
times?
flip, and I won each time, and I was like,
Nice.
Wow. You won
this is
three
something
This is the
queens to
one.
special.
ace king
This is the
flips.
one. Yeah.
Three.
I was like, this is three flips. This is fucking hard to win, and yeah. I mean, I was feeling good. I was running very good and playing decent, and that combo can get you far in tournaments. And I remember the fourth day, it was like 17 left. I was guaranteed like 50K. I was like, damn, I'm playing for a million. Um, yeah, no, I was just excited. I was just excited. I was like, whatever happens, happens though. The thing is, like, those spots are big, but and every pay jump feels very big. And a lot of times you're just like trying to make the max pay jump. You're like, oh, this pay jump's so big, it's bigger than the rest. But it's like if you allowed like every pay jump will be bigger. So if you're tightening up at this point, you're gonna
Yeah.
tighten up at the next point as well.
Yeah.
So you can't be like, oh well, this one I grinded this whole tournament. Now it's like a 10K jump, or now it's a 30K jump. It's like, well, after this 30K jump, there's gonna be a 60K jump and a 50K
Right.
jump. And if you just, you know, trying to wait for that, and
Yep.
everyone is not, you're just so. I think like what was different, like I've been in some big spots before, and I'm just like trying to ladder, trying to do that. And of course, I'm conscious of that, but I'm also just like, okay, if I think this is, if I'm making a jam versus a triple leader button open here, and if they happen to have a hand, then this was not my tournament, you
Yeah.
know?
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
It's a good mindset to have.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your strategy going into that final table? Do you remember? Did you have I was reading the coverage. It sounded like you had quite a sizable rail. I know that in your short time being everywhere, you've picked up a lot of friends in the both kind of the young pro community, and I'm sure there's a lot of LA grinders on your rail. Did you talk strategy with anyone? Do you have a set strategy going in, or did you have a plan, or were you just taking it hand for hand, situation by situation?
Yeah, I didn't really know much about the player, like too many of the players I was playing against. They were like, a lot of them were good players, but they weren't super
So you
known, or
weren't
at least
familiar with
I
Alec
hadn't
Torelli?
played. I mean, him I know, but I have never played with him. Like the thing is, like you can know somebody, but if you don't play with them, you don't
Yeah.
really know anything
Sure.
about them. Like if Alex Tully is known, but does that mean he's super wide? Does that mean he's super tight? Like,
Yeah.
what does that?
Just means you have to make sure
What does
you
that
ask
mean?
him how much he has left before you make any bets. That's no,
Exactly.
that's the one meme that everyone knows.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, a bunch of people showed up. It was nice. There was yeah. It was just like feeling that hype. Everyone showing up. Because I always love that when one of my friends is going deep, I'm always getting super hyped. And to just kind of see people showing up for you, it's like a very special feeling. And then you're like, you don't even know who's gonna show up, and then you're playing for a million, you turn over, and this guy's there, that guy's there, and you know, all the LA guys showed up. Rudy was there, Peter, my girlfriend, and then just like a couple of Brazilians showed up. And once a couple of Brazilians shows up, it's fucking game over. Like that's
Yeah, your international friends even coming in. That's great. So,
yeah.
how did that put any extra pressure on you while you were playing to have such a big rail going? I mean, this has to be the biggest rail you ever had while you're playing, right?
For sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, no, I mean, like I was surprisingly not as tense as I thought I'd be because it kind of went fast. Like the fourth day, we were down to 17, and then within like 2 hours, we were like at the final table. And then
Wow.
I was like, we were guaranteed like 90K, and then like two people busted, and I got like 100K in pay jumps. I'm like, shit, I'm already guaranteed
Wow.
150K. Like, fuck it. Like,
Uh-huh.
whatever happens now, like it all happens so fast. And I was like, okay, I already like making a lot more money. Not that I expected, but like I thought it was gonna last a lot longer. And I didn't expect it to get to like from 17 to 8 within like 3 hours.
Right.
And yeah, it's funny because like every pay jump I got, I kind of felt less pressure because I was like, wow, I just got like a 40K, 50K pay jump. I'm like, whatever happens now, like that's like winning a fucking another tournament, you know. It's like more than I won in like an Aria daily, like a 50K pay jump. So I'm like, okay, whatever like happens, happens. And there's a lot of money for first, and there's a bracelet for first, and I'm just gonna like take my spots, and I think like kind of just having to get used to that. It's nice to be in that spot because it takes a
Yeah.
while to get used to just being like, okay, there's a 100K pay jump, but I have to jam here. And if the guy has a better hand, then
Yeah,
I'm not gonna get that 100K pay jump, or I might still get it,
sure, sure.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a killer's mindset. It does have to be sharpened over time, but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep. I mean, this was definitely the biggest spot you've been in so far, right? Biggest adrenaline push, biggest
for
rush.
sure.
So, I
It's
I hope
massive.
I hope for your sake that these smaller spots that you'll be in, around town in the next year or so, still get your adrenaline pumping and they don't get boring
Yeah.
on you. You mentioned the bracelet was right there. What would it have meant to you to win that bracelet? Are his titles and getting kind of those accolades on your resume? How important is that to you?
I mean, it's definitely important, but honestly, it would have been nice to win. It's a lot of money, but I feel like there was a couple mistakes I made that tournament. And like, I want to win a bunch of tournaments, but I also want to be playing my best when I win them. I want to maybe take a play that somebody else wouldn't find. And I feel like just that FT, I played decent, but I think there was a spot or two that I could have played better. And those other guys were like playing pretty well, and they were very conscious. And I think I did good for coming in for 17, and I'm very happy with how I finished. And this FT it's a little different than most because like even getting fifth, I was just like, oh my God, this is so massive. And it's very rare you'll ever get fifth in a tournament and be content with it. But I am pretty content with it. And I'm like any time where you get to like make a decent chunk of money and learn from it, it's just such a win. Like even when I won the tournament, like I think the most exciting thing about winning that first Aria tournament is like I got to win it, but I also made a bunch of mistakes in that tournament. And like the fact that I'm like, okay, I made a bunch of these mistakes and I got to get the maximum amount of money for me, I was like, that's the dream. It's like
Yeah,
I
that's
just got to
unbelievable.
learn in all
Yeah.
these spots and I got the maximum money. It's like, oh, I could come back next time. So, because usually you make a mistake and then it costs you like 10, 20K, but I made like a couple mistakes in that tournament, heads up, three-handed, that, you know, should have cost me money, but they didn't. And then maybe they did cost me money, but I managed to
But
run
you
it
had
up.
enough extra
Yeah.
to spare, right? You can only win so much.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, yeah,
Very cool.
I'm very Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, that score is comparable to the biggest tournaments you can win in LA this year. So I mean, that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and it's an amazing, milestone in your career so far. So I'd love to see it, man. Congratulations
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Fucking Rudy hit a fucking million on Hendon before me, and I have to sleep with that every night. But you
You're
know
so
what? That's okay.
close.
I
You're
know
so
you are so
close.
close,
Okay.
so
You
close,
know?
man. You got. I mean, you just gotta. If you had just top 18 or something, top 15 this weekend, you would have hit it.
Yeah.
I know.
So let's talk about. I know you're still pretty young in your poker career, but I hear you have a lot of other interests that you got your sights set on outside of poker. What kind of things are you planning outside of poker, or even after poker, that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just want to balance more poker with life. I have a girlfriend now. We just moved into a place. Um, I there's so many people that help me, like, kind of get to where I am, whether it's my mom, my dad, my uncle, my grandma, my sister, and I want to take them on trips. I want to do stuff with them. Um, yeah. I also just am very interested in business and finance, and I want to spend some time doing that. I mean, it's very hard because poker is like so demanding,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like just times like when you want to play a series that, like, if I want to play a full series in Florida, it's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and
Yep.
like when you're running a business, you can't really do that. So at a
Nope.
certain point, you have to either be like, okay, I'm gonna maybe commit to starting a business, um, for like 6 months, a year, and then like once I get the ball rolling, then maybe I can, have someone
Sure,
help
sure.
me put in a manager, get back to poker.
Yeah.
But it's kind of
That's
tough because poker is just so the freedom poker gives you. I think it's like unparalleled to anything. And
yeah.
what I love about poker is like a lot of poker players have more freedom than CEOs because the CEOs still have
That's right.
meetings to go to the next day. Like someone with that
Yeah.
10x your net worth, but they have less freedom because they still have time. They have people counting on them. And if you want to do some other things, even if you want to start a business that can make you more money, you have to give that up in a
Yep.
sense, at least temporarily.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Even
and
when
that's
me and
tough
Ty
because I just get
promote,
used to it.
right? Yeah, even when me and Ty promote, like having a job and having an income stream, like the reason why you go pro full time is because of the freedom, right? Is that you just actually have like freedom of your life. And then I think what
Yeah,
you're describing of starting something, getting it off the ground, and getting other people to kind of pick it up and manage it. That's what we call a serial entrepreneur. So that maybe is your thing. Like if you're good at getting things off the ground and handing it off to people to go run it for you, right? You keep give them some equity and move on.
for sure. I mean, the thing. Okay, there's this painting behind me. That's
It's
too fucking
beautiful. It's
distracting.
beautiful.
Okay, I had to charge my laptop. Yeah. In one aspect, what did you just? I forgot what I wanted to say.
Serial entrepreneur.
Yeah, yeah.
Freedom. It's all right. It's all right. We can. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to. We'll have you on again and come back to that. So last question for you. You kind of alluded to this when you talked about the pancake, or was it waffle? The pancake place.
Actually, wait.
Oh,
Wait,
you got
before you continue, Ty, I
got
want
one.
to let you know that Rudy gave you a needle in the chat.
Oh.
That's it.
Oh,
Yeah, about your
what did he
million.
say?
About the million when you said he got to the million on Hendon.
Oh, I'll get
He
there
said,
someday.
"Don't worry, David. You'll get there someday."
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there, all right.
Yep. All right. So, you kind of alluded to this when you talked about the pancake place out in Amsterdam. I've heard that you love to go out after a long grind of poker and get some midnight dinner, get some late night meals. Clue us in. What are some of the best places around LA to grab food after finding that bag late night at the bike here?
Yeah, I mean, I eat a lot at night just because of my schedule. The place I go to most frequently with my girlfriend is Jones. It's in West Hollywood. It's open till like
Jones.
2
Okay.
a.m.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that place.
Yeah, that place is amazing. I think it's like
Yeah.
the best, like for the late night spot and even just any time spot. It's got great pasta, apple pie.
Yeah.
I go there a lot. That's pretty much in LA, my go-to. And
It is right
Vegas,
here, Jones.
yeah.
All
In
right.
Vegas, I was just eating like a lot of Thai food, Korean food. That place, Herbs and Rye in Vegas, I would just go there a lot as well. Late
Gotcha.
night spot, but
All right. All right. Very cool. Derek, you got any last parting shots, questions, or anyone in the chat throw any more questions out we missed?
No, man, this is amazing interview. It was really great hearing about your background, and actually really impressed with your mature mindset. So pretty amazing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah,
All
man.
right. Yeah, that's all of our
Yeah.
formal questions, David. We'd love if you got time and you want to hang out, feel free to stay on the call here. We are going to talk about this last week at the
Definitely.
bike, and we'd love to have you on, have you chime in
I
since
mean,
you were
honestly,
there.
yeah, this is very fun. I really enjoyed this. It's I feel like as a poker player, there's a lot of things that you can only talk about with other poker
Oh,
players.
absolutely.
You really can't, even if a family member, and somebody that's a family member, like they don't ask the right questions.
Sure.
They always ask the wrong, like, oh, how much money did you make
Yep.
today? Or like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, did you lose money? And you're like, this doesn't matter. And it's like, and I don't get upset. It's just like not interesting, and
Yep.
it's like you don't learn anything from the conversation. And it's not, I never get upset at people that don't understand poker. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, so you're just gambling or you're being a degenerate. I'm like, a lot of times people are like, no, I'm not. But it's like, you just have to explain it to them. Like, people just don't understand it. You
Yeah.
can't get upset.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
I think a
absolutely.
lot
It's-
of our listeners are going to appreciate this one. Like, I
sure.
can already tell it's going to be a popular episode.
Yep, very relatable, man. Very relatable. You are the everyman pro. Somehow the old man and the young man all at once.
You really are.
All right. So on that note, let's talk about what's been going on this last week over at the bike. You were there, I was there, David was there. We were all there trying to win this first quantum over at the bike, but there can be only one, and I don't think Derek and I didn't make day 3. Did you make day 3, David? I don't think any of us really made it that far here.
I didn't even make it in the money or
Neither did I.
day 2.
Yeah.
However, the winner was Paul Surratt. Congratulations to Paul. I hear he's having a pretty good year here. The final 3 agreed to a chop. Original first prize was like 150K, I think. So he took home 114,500
Congratulations
for the
buddy.
first place chop here. Second place chop was Ali Akram for 104,000. Congratulations there. And third place was Florentino Ornelas for 92.8 thousand. So that was some fantastic scores for these 3 guys after a long couple days of playing. So way to go. Congrats to all of them. And for the remainder of the final table, we had Yu Chen Chen in 4th place. We had Mark Walker in 5th place. Aram Mikhtarian in 6th place. Mr. Mike Escandiari Masood in 7th. Apparently,
what is that picture, Mike? What's going on?
Apparently he must not have put his face on that day and didn't want to get in the cameras. And then Mr. Rob Wild Gill here in 8th place. Rob's having one heck of a year as well.
Quite a year.
Yeah, we probably gonna have to have Rob on pretty soon too. For those who don't know, he got 2nd place in the $600 PLO bracelet event, a massive field out there in the World Series. And he actually had the chip lead coming into this day, I believe. And
I was on the rail, and he actually the chip lead going heads up and just 2 hands.
Oh no, well I'm talking about this tournament, but in the PLO he had a massive chip lead. Yes, heads up. Yeah. This one he lost it before we got to the final table or whatnot, and I believe he lost a lot of his chips to this Yu Chen Chen fella. But yep, congrats Rob, 8th place, and let me finish out the final table here. Mr. Travis Tachibana in 9th place. We put his picture up earlier for winning one of the turbos at the Win this summer, so he's having a nice.
You know what?
time.
Travis just walked up to me and he's like, "You know what? I really appreciate everything that you guys did, for the LA poker community. So you know what? Just come over, say hi to me and Ty, and you're gonna end up final tabling one of these things."
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I ran into him out there, and he said he did. Someone had sent him told him that we mentioned him on the show, and he came and checked it out. And then Sami Alirachedi, 10th place. This guy busted my first bullet. He's the one of the guys. He's a guy said was playing so aggressively when he got to the table that I basically had to stop playing hands in a lot of spots. It was very awkward, and then I did not bag my first bullet. So he made it all the way to the final table. So congrats to all of the final table there. You play with any of those guys, David?
No, I think that Rob guy I've recognized because
Rob plays all the time. He's there every week.
And then Mike is the man. Mike is always fun to play.
Yeah.
It's very entertaining.
Mike is a legend.
Big Mike fan.
Yeah, it's nice. That was
Yeah.
a nice mix of regs and
Yeah,
people we don't recognize and just
hmm
some like old timers. I think the guy who came in third used to play like cash games tournaments forever going back in the day. So
for sure.
good to see some of these guys coming up and making a big score.
Yep, definitely a good mix. And as opposed to last week where we really didn't, there was pretty much no regs, at least not super regs that we play with every week there. But this time we had a nice mix.
Yeah.
We have just a couple other results from last week because when they run those quantums, they run very few events during the week. So let me quick cover those. They had a $360 deep stack, and the final four players chopped that up. It looks like Kevin Tang got first in that chop, followed by Aaron Brumer, and then Juan Duff Jr., and Peng Yu Huang was the last one to chop that up. Also cashing was Zhong Ik Lim and John Husum. So congrats to all of them.
Congrats, everyone.
And the other event that we have results from is the Heroes event here. The $500 Heroes event had 51 players play in it, and they were going to have 6 play, but they just chopped 8-way. So, okay, 8-way chop in
Wow.
a paying 6 spot. So, congrats to Lewis Brandt.
Big chop for first place.
Yeah, he got
7K with a.
Yep. I'm not sure what the original payout was, but you know what? This is kind of a good time to mention. If you're doing numbers at the bike, you may want to run the numbers yourself also while they're doing it. You'll have plenty of time because they do not do an ICM chop. They do a chip chop. They take all the numbers, they take the prizes, and they run it in whatever their calculator is, and it's a chip chop. So you may want to check the ICM numbers yourself before agreeing to or going with the deal. But anyways, congratulations to Lewis Brandt. Congratulations to Andrew Lavender, Mir Gaskari. Oh, Q-Lay. I didn't know he played. If that's Quack, I didn't know he played mixed games at all. Sharam Shariari.
Shahari.
Is that that? That's not. Yeah, no. Mike is Shiardi. Okay, and then and Philip Penn Jr. That's the natural cashers, and the ones that got in because of the chop were Craig Chait, of course, and Ronald Ho. So congrats to all of them. So those are the only results we have for this past week because those are really pretty much the only events they had other than. Well, I'm sorry. They had really no events last week because of the Quantum, and then the Heroes event, I believe, was on Monday. So this week we have more mixed games going on throughout the week because, as we'll get to soon, this weekend, it's all one days. All right. So, yeah, Xander, we're hoping to get those poker trophies as well. I really think Jeff just buried all traces of them, all evidence that they ever existed.
I'm gonna have to bribe them out. I need one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first we got to win, but then we got to just say, look, take $50 back, get us the poker. So one of the things I wanted to talk about though was we were all really excited about the $400 Big Four tournament they ran to start the series, and it was not a quantum. It was a 400K guarantee, and if you recall, it got a prize pool of a little over 700,000. They paid out about 75,000, so the actual prize pool is like a little over 6, so not bad. The prize pool for this event was, as being a quantum, it was a 500K guarantee, but they got around 180 people per day 2. The day 2 entries are 179, which
like
will
911K, right?
Yep. So it was 911 total. The actual day 2 payout prize pool was 742.6 here. So really, the day 2 payout amount was really only about 100K, touch over 100K more than the day 2 payout amount for the 400K. So to me, the 400K, in my mind, I don't know. Tell me what you think about this, guys. I feel like the 400K just really crushed it, especially compared to this being, what is effectively an $1,800 tournament. They got the day 2 payout 740, 742-ish, and the 400 almost reached the same prize pool, right? Without the quantums and with the 400, there were no tiered buy-ins. It was just 400. You couldn't, we didn't get 180 people coming in for 1,800 boosting that prize pool up. Like, I don't know. To me, this signals to me that 400 prize point is a really great sweet spot, and that you just don't need quantums. Like this.
Yeah, it's not even the price point. I just feel like if you run similar price tournaments with like that instead of quantums, you're gonna get, even if you get like break even similar price pools, it's such better value because you're not taking all that money out for day 1, right? And it just
I agree. Yeah, it just takes so much money out. How is Mo gonna eat if we don't do the quantums? But for us, I
Well, you should run into him out
yeah
over in Europe while you're poker traveling. You got to ask him. Yeah. So for instance, this
yeah
tournament, they took 108 out for just the regular, you bagged up, get 350 payouts, and then they took another 48,000 out for double baggers. So that's 150K out of the prize pool right there, right off the rip before we even get to day two. To me, the
yeah
fact that they got 179 people to buy in for 1,800, we keep saying this, right? Just run put a million guarantee on it and make it do what you're doing with the Park West Classic. I think the Park West Classic is going to be a smashing success. And this was an 1,800 buy-in. Like it doesn't even have to be an 1,100 or 1,200. Run a 2K and put a million guarantee on it. Put it in every series. Like it's going to be freaking huge. Oh, Frank says Q is actually a mixed cash game pro. Oh, he just likes to slum it in the Hold'em streets to take our money. I see. So I don't know. To me, that's huge. And then the other thing this really highlights is the lopsidedness of the payout percentages, right? Because the 400 had a 100K first prize, and this one had a 150K first prize, right? And the total prize pool, like I said, they took 75K out for double bags here, so that was 625, and the total prize pool for this day two was 742. Really, so like with a 100K difference. The difference in amount of day two prize pool, 50% of that went to first prize in this. And man, I just hate the way quantums pay out. It's just so weird, right?
yeah
Like
I think the quantums would actually be pretty good if they just didn't give payout the first day, and if they just made the min cash like normal. Like if it was an 1,800 buy and min cash was like 2,500, because like if you buy in for 400 and then you min cash like 6x, that's exciting. That's awesome. And also just having more money first. So like I think it could be good. They're just like have to not pay out money the first day, because they're just like, you're buying for 400 to get 350 back. Like who's getting excited over that?
Yeah.
I just want you to go to pits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But, so if you took that 100,000, right?
More money for first, and the min cash is bigger, and it's like they should just make it 15% of field pay from day two, whatever that is, and I think it'll be more exciting for everyone, because more money for first, the min cash gets you hyped, like.
Right. So like let's say in this example, right? If they took 100K, I like that idea. If they took this 108,000 that they paid out to day ones for that, like you bagged, here's 350. And then let's say 135th was the payout, the min payout. So if they went from say even 64th to 135th, let's say that's like 65 people or so, right? You should be able to add 2,000 onto all of those places. So you could go a little further. You could go a little further and add 1,500 to all the places and do what you're saying. So if you could not pay out the day one bags, and then you could make the payouts. Basically, I mean, you could, if you wanted, you could pay out from like 46 to 135 could be 2,500 with that 100K.
Yeah.
Right?
Even if you like mine for 400 and you cash for 225, even if you min cash, it could be just.
So it feels like more of an accomplishment.
I actually never thought about that. Like if you did it that way, like that is
could be fun.
Like a significant min cash.
And you'd still be cashing at a third of the field on day two. So it's not like you have to make it all the way to that 12% at the top. You'd be making it a third of the way through. The only downside really though is then the day two direct buys are such a good buy. You almost have to increase their buy-in even more, because now you're saying I can direct buy in and I only have to make it through to 33% of the field and I'll get my buy-in back. So that becomes too much value almost.
And there's actually more prize pool for you on the day two.
Yeah, having more prize pool. As long as you put in the right amount, I think it's relatively okay. But I definitely don't think there's anything wrong putting in a little extra, because the later you enter, the more people are knocked out, especially if you increase that min buy.
1,800, if you make it 2,200, like probably no one would. That would probably change for no one.
Well,
exactly.
Yeah. And then it would be, more fair, because you're contributing more to the prize pool. You're going to cash that high percentage and get a lot of it back, but you're contributing more. Yeah. So, there'd be some more complicated math to do, but that could definitely make it more exciting. And I think that would feel more fair, especially, the thing that I've always said on this show every time is that it just feels so unfair to people playing one bullet and thinking it's a real normal day one, day two thing, and they don't understand. They just are so disadvantaged. So
I mean, I just look at it as like the better you are, the worse the quantum is for you, because there's more money coming out and there's more like
unless
if you're planning to be like 30% of field and like get that $600, it's like it's better for you. But
unless you're great at bagging and great at satellites, then you do what you did. You play every single day, every flight, and you end up with like, the way these
And
guys.
even then, it's hard to make a fucking dollar.
It's hard. It's hard. But you got guys like Q bag 5 or 6 times this time, and they pay, but they also reduced the payout for day one bag. So I love that too. That was good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. So I just wanted to say it just seemed like the prize pool, and like if you can hit 625,000 with a $400 buy-in without quantum, what are we doing here, guys? If you have that tournament, let's just smash this freaking other thing. Okay, and the other side topic, I don't want to sound like we're bashing, but man, it was ugly. It was super ugly that day, and it was completely, in my mind, completely plannable and preventable, right? I don't know who put these things on the schedule, if they always do it this way, but that day too, they had they had 280 or 290 something people who bagged, right? And then they had all the double bagger payouts, probably about 70 or so. So they know they have 220 people coming back to day two.
Yep.
They know they've changed it. We went over it last time. They changed it so you can have unlimited day two rebuy, right?
Yep.
The idea is to get people like David and you and me to just blast off and keep rebuying and re-entering, right? Except
they should
we
actually
couldn't.
also know. They should also know what the average number of people that kind of come in and buy on day two, and it's usually going to be 150 to 200 people, right, or more.
Yep.
So
and that room holds there's like, it holds like 380 people or something like that. With that 40 something tables, right? Is that right? 38 tables, 40 something tables. And that room caps out, I think, at under 400 people. So just adding in another 60 entries, right?
You're capping it. Yeah.
And so the problem for those of you who were not there is that they started a 1-day 50K guarantee event that the previous week doubled that 50K guarantee, over 100K guarantee. I think it got to about 100K in prizes. And they started at 11 a.m. The Quantum Day 2 started at noon. When they started this 1-day event, there were, I believe that people were saying they had 8 tables open. So 64 people could sit. And honestly, I thought it was only one row. I thought it was only 6 tables. So they had like 8 tables open for an event that doubled their guarantee last week, that smashed their guarantee. They could only seat 64 until then people had to wait to start busting. That line was out the door, past the ferns, way down the hallway.
We're like walking, we're just like, this can't be all day two buy-ins, because we see people online that we didn't think were day two buy-ins. I was like, they can't be running another tournament at the same time, right?
But they were.
But they were.
And not only that, but that limited the number of tables they could open and create for the day two buy-ins for the Quantum. So that restricted the day two Quantums buy-ins. Like, what the heck are we doing here, guys? The day two Quantum should be the priority, shouldn't it?
Yeah, and we heard many stories of people just walking off the line for both tournaments. Like, they really cost themselves here.
Especially since it's an 1800 where you're raking, I think, wait, we have this written down. This is my next complaint, where you're raking $250. The other tournament's whole buy-in was, I think, $300. Let me bring up the schedule here. So you're raking $250 per day two buy-in of 1800 here on our Quantum half million. The entire buy-in for the other tournament was 300. Why are we running this 300, guys? And also, isn't there an entire casino with an entire poker room that is completely empty at 11 a.m.? You're running like 3 cash tables. Don't you know, as you pointed out, we know exactly how many people are coming back for day two. We have a good estimate how many people will be buying. We changed the buy-in structure so you can do unlimited rebuys, but that only works if the seats are available and free so that we can buy in unlimited. I mean,
I can't imagine that it wasn't until noon on that day where they were just like, oh shit, right? That couldn't have happened, because you must have known.
Exactly. This is plannable.
Yeah.
And there was an hour to start watching. Now, I know every casino in town is having like staffing problems, right? There's not enough dealers, there's not enough floors, not enough staff. But if you know that, like, what are you doing, guys? This 300 still managed to hit their guarantee. They had about 70 something K in the prize pool. And we had 179 people buy in day two of that Quantum. But, I mean, David, how long did it take you to get in?
I mean, I just waited till the last minute because I can't stand still for an hour, and I just didn't wait in that line. But, I mean, I talked to Jeff about this, and he was like, yeah, he punted. We all punt.
Yeah.
It
happens. It happens.
He punted, but, yeah, I mean, they realized it. I don't think he realized how big it was going to get.
Yeah.
And, he probably should have, seen how many people bagged and done a little math and been like, okay, even that day, let me just change it to like 2
Yeah,
p.m.
even if you make an
But
announcement the day before, right?
the
Like,
good thing about like something this terrible happening is like I don't think it'll happen again because he definitely
Yeah.
felt it.
fingers
I
crossed.
talked to him about it, and even my buddy Jeremy came and he was like, even when he could like buy in, he just like left.
Yeah,
Like
Right.
he
I didn't
came
rebuy.
there, he like left at like 1:30, and he could still rebuy, but he's like, fuck this. And I was like, dude, but the line, like, they're about to cut it off, but he was just like, he was just over it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
And the thing is, like, it's not. I mean, I don't know. It's not. Like, I think Jeff is actually doing a really good job of reaching out to poker community. He feels like he is trying to introduce things that are a little bit more player friendly. So, big fan of him. But this is one of those things where I think very few people ever run like a big 1 day alongside at the same time as a 2 day. Like they always stagger it. So
yeah.
it's
And
do what other people are doing.
yeah, and
just
like I
gotta
said,
start it at like 2, 3 p.m. Like it would
Right.
have been
yeah,
fine.
exactly. If anything, start the quantum earlier. And I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not calling for anyone's head. I'm just saying, man, this was such a blunder. Just
Yeah.
please think
Yeah.
about it. And the other thing to think about, right, is that the one you're running is an 1800, right? These are such different segments that you can fill. It's a
Yeah.
completely full room of different kinds of
I mean,
people.
it cost them like, it cost them at least 20, 30K minimum. Like,
Absolutely
Yeah.
cost them a ton. I
like,
didn't rebuy, and I went to the Commerce to play their daily just because I wasn't done playing for the day. And there were at least 5 people just in the 4 tables right around me, and they were all like, "Oh, did you come from the bike? Yeah, me too. I didn't go in. I didn't even register." So many people left to
Commerce
go for
is
the
just
other ones.
like thank you.
Yeah, seriously.
yeah.
So man, I really hope they take that note and they take that into account. I mean, it saved me some money. I didn't rebuy. I mean, if I wasn't gonna go deep, it saved me money. So whatever.
Yeah.
And the last little thing I got to talk about is, as I mentioned, the 1800 would have got them $250 per entry in rake, right? That's as much as the 300. And man, you think about it, it's actually kind of high.
That's pretty high.
So
That is really high.
some other people were talking about it throughout the series, looking at this schedule. I'm used to, and I told them I've noticed it too. I'm used to 200 buys being 250s, right? I'm used to 300 buys being 360s, and the reason I know this is because on my tracking app on my phone, right, you save your profiles, and I go,
Yeah.
all right, let me bring up my bike tournament profile from last year, and it's not right. I got to change the numbers. Well, these numbers, these are all rake numbers. This rake is getting kind of high, and we did a little research here. I just want to point this out, and I don't understand. Okay, I kind of understand, but I just think it's important for people to know. Let's compare a couple of these tournaments, right? And then, it'd be interesting, David, get your point of view on how much you look at rake when you look at these tournaments. Is it just total? A lot of people only look at total prize pool. But, this is significant rake, right? Like the bike, this 1.8 buy-in, a $250 rake, that was 16% of the prize portion of that buy-in, right? The World Series,
That's no stakes.
yeah, 16% for a around 2K buy-in there. The World Series circuit main we just had in May, it was a 1.7K total buy-in. The rake out of that was $185. That's it. That's 12.2% of the off the buy-in amount. That's significantly. That's 4% difference there. That's for that level, for the over 2K level. And then when you get to the lower buy-ins, right, it gets just incredibly worse. Just looking around town. So if you look, that same series, the World Series circuit at Commerce had $400 entry tournaments, right? They were 300.
They gotta pay more. No,
They were 330 and 70, right? 330 and 70.
They're not gonna cut it off their end. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna be like, oh Mo, like take some of our portion. Like, no, we're just gonna add it on top. You know what I mean?
That's 21. That's 21%.
That's where that comes from.
Yeah, right. So that's kind of the thing, right? Is it Park West? Is it Park West adding overhead? Is it Mo and the tournament director somehow needing to add for that? Because they did tell us the quantums, and we all suspected they do get some royalty if they run quantums in a series. They get something, right? We're not sure what it is, but just by running quantums, they get something. So the 400, the Mo and like his tournament staff or whatever. So maybe Mo, maybe
Tournament
Mo,
Mafia,
and there's also a partner, right? That silent partner who owns the quantum copyright as well.
I think the day 2 is where they get the money.
Yeah, but you can check Larry's episode for what they did tell us. It wasn't super specific, but there were a couple details. But just to finish this comparison though, the $400 at the bike, $320 goes to the prize pool, 80 goes to the rake. That's 25%. that circuit 400, it was a split of 330 and 70. That's 21%. So another 4% difference. And then down at the $200 levels, down at the lowest levels for these guys, the Commerce, their 250 dailies. Well, that's not quite apples to apples. Let me look at this other one. So the Gardens dailies, right? Gardens best dailies in town, $250, $50 rake, 25%. Used to be 240, I think, but they've gone up to 25. The bike's running 260s. That's 30% of that $200 prize pool. 60 is rake, so it's 30% rake. 200 the prize pool, 60 to rake. I mean, 30% on these cheap ones. That's crazy. Even so, the Commerce 250s that they run as dailies, it's not quite the same, but it's even better. They do an add-on. They do a 150 add-on tournament where when you do that $100 add-on, your total amount you paid is $250. Only $35 is going to rake. That's about 16.3%. And they have a $250 entry bounty event that they do as a daily. Only $35 of that is going to rake. So, guys, I hadn't really looked closely, but the rake at Commerce is fantastic. And they have some really low buy-in ones. They're 150s. They cap the rake out, it looks like, at $30, which is about what Lucky Lady does as well. Their rake at the Lucky Lady tournaments is also $30. Now, the structures at Commerce, I think, are much better than Lucky Lady. So I would personally prefer to play those, but Lucky Lady has a good schedule in that they're later in the day. So, David wants to play something at like 7 o'clock. He might still be able to get in that. And, but the rake, they're very low buy-ins. They cap at $30, which still a decent percentage, but like $30 is a steal. I mean, 30% rake at that level is crazy. I mean, 16% at the 2K level. I mean, how bad is that, David? What do you look at rake?
That's a lot.
How much do you look at rake?
No, I definitely look at rake. I thought even for like 1100s, like a lot of times the rake was like $100 or something.
Yeah, at the Gardens, the 1100s, the rake's always 10%. 1100, it's 100 rake, 1,000 the prize pool.
So it's pretty crazy, for those stakes.
But the Park West Classic, 1,040 is going to the prize pool.
I mean, there could just be so much money if you think about the rake and you think about all the payouts. Like, I just think about the payouts as like additional rate because like that money is just I'm only getting like $300 for that, and then 100K is like getting out of the prize pool.
Those payouts. Yep.
You're not gonna double bag. It's just you're never getting that money.
Exactly.
So
yep. If you're not double bagging, it's totally waste.
Right.
Yeah, but the tournaments are so fucking good. I just can't.
The upside for us is it fills day 2 with satellite winners.
Yeah, you have to have something else to compete with it, and there's not enough stuff going on for you to be like, oh, I'm not gonna go here, I'm gonna go there, so
it's not just nothing even close to it.
I keep encouraging Kevin to compete, but he insists on playing nice. However, here's a scoop for everyone. In the event of, and honestly it looks like Commerce won't be running a September series like they usually do, because it doesn't appear like they have hired a new tournament director still. So it appears their next series will be that next circuit event in November, which means September somewhat open. And Kevin has said that they are planning, no announcements yet, but they're planning to run something in September. So fingers crossed that we get a really nice series at the Gardens in September, because they are really the best of both worlds. Well run, decent rake, like probably best rake in town. And the players really love the Gardens, as we discovered in our vote. Best place in town to play. I just want to, if in case you hadn't looked yet, the Park West Classic, we're ecstatic that this is not a quantum, but man, look at this rake. Like we just said, all of the past, how many has he done now? The past 6, 7 1Ks at the Gardens, 1,100 buy-in, 100 goes to the prize pool. I mean, 100 is the rake. That's it. 1,200 buy-in. There's only a $40 additional going to the prize pool, right? So it's $160 of that is rake. Like,
wow.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's unnecessary. It's unnecessary.
And the double bag bonus is almost the full amount. So this is, once again, we'll have that. It won't be as bad because it's still hard to do 1 in 8, but it's still the full amount coming out of the prize pool for all the double baggers on it. So
yeah, I mean, to squeeze the bigger events like that, it just seems a little greedy, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we understand the really low ones, the really low. But on this, I just discovered why the rake is so high. I didn't notice this on the sheet, but if you look down here in the blueprint, day 2 will have a 50-minute buffet dinner break after the 6th level with the return of the Shrimp Mountain. I thought it was a tower.
No way.
So they're bringing the Shrimp Tower. So this is obviously where that extra $60 of rake is going, right?
It's most
all right.
Podcast.
You know what? Yeah, that's fine. I'll pay it. I'll pay it. It's fine.
So if you make day 2 and you make it past level 6, there's a 50-minute dinner buffet. Man, the bubble for level 6 is going to be huge.
I mean, the thing is, like, their buffets have been handing you like a tray of microwave food, right? Like, that's
Oh,
what it's been.
has it?
So now,
Shrimp
yeah,
Mountain, though.
now, Shrimp Mountain. Because in that Shrimp Mountain is like crab legs and a whole bunch of other
Oh,
stuff.
yeah?
too.
I wasn't here
Oh.
back when they did them. I just know
Oh,
everybody's
really?
been like, everyone's been begging for the shrimp tower, bring
Yeah,
the shrimp
the
back.
most shrimp tower. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously that's where the $60 goes. So, I mean, I think they probably could have handled that for like $20 a person since we're not all going to make it that
Yeah.
long. But, at least I can
We're not all
see.
gonna eat that shrimp mountain. I don't know what's in there.
Hey,
good,
it's a
man.
player
It's
favorite,
good.
apparently, man.
Yeah.
So there's that. So, yep. So, guys, keep your eyes out for announcement eventually for something in September. September from the Gardens. I'm excited for that. And, in the meantime, man, I only play the really big guarantees at the bike, but like I'm gonna tell my friends. Like my friends went over there for some of these weekday ones. Just it's not worth it. Just go play the daily at the Gardens. Like it's almost the same guarantee. The prize pool is gonna get to be just as big, and the rake is better. Like there's no reason
Yeah.
to go play like a 20K guarantee during the week down there, honestly, because it's the same tournament, if not worse, because of the rake. I mean, the prize pools at the Gardens are always double their guarantees anyways. So.
Yeah. 30% rake is just absurd.
Yeah. So, I mean, I only go for the really big guarantees here at Bike, and it's like, it sucks that even at the high buy-in levels, they are really squeezing that rake. So, I mean, I hate to see that. But like you said, David, there's no competition. I say this every time a Quantum comes up. If someone else ran a 1K that weekend, I would be there. And the only way I'd be at the Bike is if I somehow had a day off of it, right? If somehow it worked out that if I don't bag, I can play day one here or something. The choice, I would always go to the non-quantum, especially if the rake was that much better.
Yeah, I mean, I think the competition would definitely help with stuff like rake and service, but definitely the cannibalization would hurt prize pools. I don't know.
Yeah, it would hurt our ability and the fact that we just have these tournaments all year round, which is so nice. So,
Yeah.
oh well, at least we're getting the shrimp tower.
I'm excited about that shrimp tower, man. I better make that.
Yeah, we gotta
Yeah,
make
day 2.
we gotta make the day 2 level 6.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is exciting. David's here for the.
Yeah, it was just really fun
All
to
right.
talk about all that stuff.
Let's
And
just.
I want to give a
Oop.
shout out to somebody before we wrap this up. I didn't make it to Sammy's
Going away breakfast. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Sammy
noticed.
is leaving town, and he's been an awesome member of the LA poker community for, I don't know, longer than me, so I don't even know how long.
Well, if
but
you
he's an
watched
awesome
the episode,
guy.
he would have told you. He told you
Yeah,
during his
no,
interview with us.
he's an awesome guy, and I'm glad he's been doing well. He's been crushing,
Yeah.
and I hope we'll get to see him during the summers and stuff. And he has a freaking awesome family, awesome wife, awesome kid, and he's just a great guy. And I'm gonna miss that I'm gonna miss that freaking French guy.
Absolutely.
That's the truth.
Yeah, we all are.
It's the only
sure.
French guy I
Yeah.
know I can say that about. And
Yeah,
he was getting
yeah.
all emotional walking through the bike that one last time that morning. I was walking, talk with him. He's saying this is the memories. This is where it all started for him. When he first arrived, he could barely speak English. Came to the bike, started dealing.
He's a good guy.
Yep. All right.
I mean, he's the fucking dream. He dealt and then he freaking made. Looks
He's
like
a
a mill
killer.
to me.
Yeah, he hit a
Yeah.
mill before y'all.
Yeah.
Don't
Looks
worry,
like a
he'll be
mill
back.
from around-
He'll be back for the NAPC, and he will probably be back for the WPT, and he might even come back for the circuit main, depending on the schedule. So we'll see him. All right, let's quick run through what's happening this weekend, and then let's get out of here. So, as you all know, do I not even have the schedule up? This weekend is all about. Oh, I know what happened. This weekend is all about the Legends still going on. That's the biggest thing happening. This weekend is one-day events, which means during the week we have some mixed game events. We already said Heroes today, or yesterday. Today was the limit EO8 or better event. So tomorrow there is a deep stack $20,000 guarantee. 30K in chips, so that has a $250 buy-in. You can check, maybe that rake is just 50 in normal. The limit triple draw is also on Wednesday. That starts at 1 p.m. So that's a fun one. Limit triple draw, 500 buy-in, 15K guarantee. And then they have a super bounty at night on Wednesday at 4 p.m. On Thursday, they have a super stack 50K in chips, also a 20K guarantee. That one has a $260 buy-in, so that has that high rake. Once again, I would just go to the Gardens personally. And then PLO happening at 1 p.m., 15K. Then a no limit hold'em 6 max at 4 p.m. that night for 560. So, Derek, if you get some 6 max in, head down there on Thursday night. Friday.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, Friday they have a mega stack with 40K guarantee. That's for 260. So that one has a nice big guarantee. So if you're chasing those big prize pools, that one's decent. So also they'll be doing a limit Omaha 8 or better at 1 p.m. on Friday. And then a late night madness with a optional add-on. So $200 buy-in with a $100 optional add-on on Friday night starting at 4. They do survivors every night of the week as well. Those all start at 7:30. And then on Saturday, they will be doing their 150K guarantee one-day event, the legendary deep stack. This is the same event they ran that first week. This is the event that got about 740 runners or so. They filled the entire room, completely packed. I really hope they find a way to open a couple extra tables so that maybe they can get this thing even bigger and break their record because it was absolutely space constrained last time. $400 buy-in, 150K guarantee, 11 a.m.
Is it only the ones with the little trophy icon that give away trophies with the 6 maxes, no trophy?
Right. Now, that is what they declared. Now, I forget his name, but one of the tournament directors, he said he wrote down the name of the winner of the super bounty I did, and they're going to see if they can get him a trophy, but there's no guarantee there. So the ones with the red trophies, yes, guys, the ones with the red trophies, those are the ones you guarantee to get a trophy for, and those are the ones where, as long as it's not a quantum, those are the ones I will be tabulating in our Player of the Year race. Now, none of the bike events have hit Hendon yet, so I have not started those results. So those need to get into Hendon before I start pulling them. And I really do think it would help if they formatted their result PDFs a little easier, but they are putting the results up, so that's good. And then, the mini Mega Million starts on Saturday afternoon and then on Sunday. So Saturday afternoon, they'll have a flight at 4 p.m. and Sunday they will have all 3 of their flights, the 11 and 4 p.m. and the 2 p.m. And the Mini Mega Millions is the one where you have the flights where you bag either 20% or 10% advancing. This one is also a decent deal for buying in direct because it's $1,400, and they'll be having their satellites later in the week as well.
And just a PSA on that mini mega that the day 2 is on a Monday because they have 2.
Yes.
Sorry, the day 2 is on a Monday.
They have 2 day 2s. Yep. So they'll have a day 2 on Sunday, a day 2 on Monday, a day 3 on Tuesday, and a potential day 4 on Wednesday. Oh, and that brings up another point that mess on Saturday brought up. Another reason I was a little less inclined to rebuy was they added, this was good and bad. They added a level, right? They repeated the 3rd level to kind of keep entry going so that they could get the people in that were in line.
Yep.
However, that's not good for me. Adding a level and letting more people register means that at the end of the day, we're going to end the day earlier level-wise, which means there's going to be more people left. They went to day 3 with 60-something people left. It was a lot of people. I would much prefer to go to day 3 with 3 tables, 2 tables, 1 table because I'm taking a day off of work, right? So it's bad. Right. It's actually a bad thing for me if you add extra levels in and you let more people in and you extend that day of the tournament. Like, I don't want that. And that was another reason I didn't want to rebuy. So, this stuff all kind of ripples. And that's going to be, because if I'm going to do that, I'm saving that for the Mega Millions, right? If I'm going to take extra days off and play a day 3 and a day 4, I want it to be in the Mega Millions, not the 500K, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right, so over at Hollywood Park, just to let you know, do not go there. They have nothing going on Saturday and Sunday. There's something here called Hard Summer. I'm guessing it's a concert. So do not go to Hollywood Park this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. The Gardens has all their dailies. Commerce has all their dailies. And now that we've looked at the rake, you got a little more idea of what they're charging there. And and then Lucky Lady didn't seem to have any special events going on either, just their normal dailies as well. All right, and that is what's going on this weekend. I think for me, I'll just be playing at the larger guarantee, the ones that we're going to count for Player of the Year over at the bike on Friday and Saturday.
Yep, me too.
You gonna be playing this weekend at all live, David? Any of this stuff interesting to you, or not big enough?
Probably not. I'm going to the wilderness with my girlfriend, and then the mini mega. I'm actually gonna be out of town. I have to go to Chicago for something, but
okay.
My girlfriend's going to be here, so she's going to take that one down for the family.
Oh, okay. She's going to represent. All right. She's going to represent. I got you. We'll keep an eye out.
We'll be in there.
All right.
We'll be in there.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. And then we will await your return for the you'll be back for the Park West Classic.
Park West. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be back for that.
All right,
Yeah, that's
we
gonna
will
be a
see
good
you
one.
for that then. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you so much, David. Thank you, everyone who watched, and we hope you had a great time with us. I know I did. And yeah, I'll see you over there at the bike. I think we'll be there for Saturday for sure. And David, have fun. Safe trip to Chicago, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks,
for coming
guys.
on again.
It was a blast. I really appreciate it, and see you guys soon.
All right,
Thanks
guys.
again.
And for all you, see you at the tables.
See you at the tables, everyone.